Good morning. You're currently tuned in to LoveLinked on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeartRadio station. I'm your host and creator, Brandy R. Love. And it's a whole almost 70 degrees in Chicago. Heat wave, right? Path of Egress crew is back with me. I'm so happy this morning. Guys, remember, I will be at Maurice D. Prophet's Black Girl Means War. That's Saturday at the Schomburg Center of Performing Arts. So be sure to have your notifications on. I will be live that entire evening. So this time we have Vincent Baran, which is the producer and director of Path of Egress.
Director of Path of Egress.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
What's going on?
Just enjoying the heat wave in February. That's unheard of. It's nice to be able to not trudge through snow in February.
So I want to know, did you always want to be a filmmaker?
I'd say since 8th grade. Originally wanted to be a veterinarian, but my dad actually he showed me a lot of films that he grew up on and enjoyed, and one of them, a series of them were James Bond films, so all the 007 classics, as well as Back to the Future and 2001: A Space Odyssey. So literally those random clusters of films did it for me. Like I was enthralled. I just absolutely loved it.
Where did you receive your training?
I went to the Illinois Institute of Art, and that's where I cut my teeth. I learned what I needed to learn, and then I moved on to productions in Chicago, and saw how it was really done on a high budget scale, and me branched off with Pascal, and we took it from there.
And so what was your first project like?
I did, of course, student films, and that's as far as you think of student films, that's what it was. It wasn't anything extravagant, but I got to learn the camera, I got to learn lighting and grip and the editing process, post-production and pre-production, scripts and whatnot. And I took that and I went and got jobs. I worked on various high budget productions in the city, whether it be films or TV shows that are currently still filming here. And I saw how it was done on a big scale, and how it's really done with when you have a huge budget and a massive crew and everything to work with. And then I learned what I needed to learn, and then me and Pascal got together, and we were talking about everything, and we were just like, well, what's the best way to really get ourselves in there? And that was making a feature film. So we wanted to just go straight to the top and just go right for the gold.
What obstacles did you face trying to make the film?
Oh man, well, I'll start with the smooth processes of the film. It was Pascal and I really meshed really well when we did Path of Egress. We both had the same vision going into it, the same ideas when it came to cast, the camera work, how we wanted stuff lit. It just really worked really nicely. The troubles occurred. I wouldn't say they're troubles, but when you have a 76-person cast, that's a big job to take on in terms of organization and getting everybody where they need to be and have them perform to their best. So it's an independent film, but you have a high budget cast and production value.
76 different personalities. Wow.
Yeah, that's what we're crediting so far. So, but that's a big undertaking.
So what's the funniest thing that's happened so far?
Man, this whole film is if you saw the behind the scenes, it would be a comedy. So I can't give away too much, but you'll definitely see some behind the scenes stuff on our Facebook, and we'll release things here and there, and you'll just see our actual personalities come out. So
tell us about this poster that we see right here.
Yeah, this was a poster we came up with. These are our three main characters here. It's Tyler right here, Pascal, and Carlos. And it's called Path of Egress. This is just kind of a representation of their path into essentially the unknown with where the film takes them regarding the job that they were part of that kind of went awry, and it just kind of tells a little story of a journey into the unknown and their paths to how everything unraveled in the film.
So Pascal, tell us once again, you were here before, but tell us what was the inspiration for the story?
The inspiration for the story, I wrote an ending first, a cool way to end a movie, and everything rippled from there. Just basically had a cool ending, And then obviously you need a middle and an end and a beginning and everything else all streamlined so it perfectly makes sense. So it's very strange. It wasn't something that happened. It was just an idea I had in my head while I was working, and just decided to basically elaborate on the ending and just basically have it make sense in the end and all that. So it wasn't anything. It's not some crazy, super inspirational story. It's just I love films. I love watching films. I wanted to essentially come up with something that I would enjoy seeing. So Vince has mentioned this before. You always want to make something that you'd like to see. You wouldn't want people to see something that you wouldn't watch.
Right.
So I wanted to go in and make an intellectual film, something where the audience, you guys, could enjoy watching, something that makes you question things in the film, the story, the characters, their arcs, their downfalls, if you will, etc.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't want to spoon feed our audience. We want them to think and come to their own conclusions and really take an intellectual route in terms of viewing film and cinema again, because you go to a lot of movies and it's for what you see is what you get, and that's it. And we want people to when they come out of watching it, they'll go to their friends like, oh, well, I think this and this happened, and the other person has a completely different outlook on it, and they go when they talk about it, and it actually lasts a little longer than the car ride home.
Essentially, it's like the trailer too. We did something very short, and somebody's asked for something longer, but we didn't want to do that. We wanted to keep it as vague as humanly possible, because many times you'll see a trailer and too much is given away. You go and seeing the film, it's almost like you got your cliff notes of the film and you know what's going on. With ours, we wanted to keep it as vague as possible. We want you to get on the journey by yourself, come up with conclusions yourself, and just enjoy the ride, basically.
Yes, by the looks of the trailer, it is scandalous. It's almost like an Ocean series. I'm like, wait a minute, we got a little scandalous and sultriness and people kissing and stuff. I said, wait a minute.
Yeah, you got a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. So Tyler, you were here before as well. Tell us again, what's your character?
Well, my character, Lee, is somebody who wants to basically get involved with the underworld crime syndicate, just because, primarily for just like the thrills and for like the self-satisfaction and purely for selfish reasons. And when he gets into it, he gets into it way over his head, and it results in getting some pretty important people in his life killed, and there are people who are going to be coming after him because of the decisions that he's made. And so he has to basically grow up and mature really fast and figure out the best way possible to get out of this without getting as many people killed in the process. So, and for me, it's like I have no concept of what life is like in like any underground crime. And so for me, it's like, well, okay, I can connect with this character right there. But then for me to tap into the sort of the arrogance and the sort of the self-righteous factor of like getting into this just because he'd be like, oh, he'd be one of the guys, he'd be one of the cool guys, like, like a good fella or something like that. And then just be getting it way over his head for me is like, this is a really fascinating character to kind of take on. So, and also like try to find the humanity in this person too, especially because of all the mistakes that the character makes, but then all the correct decisions that he makes in the process.
So we're going to go ahead and take a break. You're tuned into LoveLinked on IntellectualRadio.com. You're currently tuned in to LoveLinked on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeartRadio station. More with the crew of Path of Egress. Woo! So, guys, tell us when we anticipate the screening.
We're shooting for April as a local a screening for cast and crew and friends.
Private,
and then private screenings, and then we are going for the festival circuit. So when we move on to the festivals, that's where you're going to get your world premieres.
What advice do you have for aspiring filmmakers?
Don't do it.
Stay away, man. Just get with people you trust and you're on the same level with. I mean, that's really the toughest thing, is finding somebody who has the exact same, outlook for the future as you do. I mean, luckily, Pascal and myself doing productions, we have had that. But as terms of films go, it's, a lot of financial responsibility, a lot of gear. You got a lot of people relying on you. It's a really big undertaking, but we went straight to the big guns. We wanted to do a feature film. We didn't want to do short films. We didn't want to do little things. We want to get noticed. So that's the way we took it. It might not be for everybody, but that's the way we wanted to take it.
So were you ever given the classic LA talk that you needed to go there?
Oh yeah, constantly. Especially working on productions in the city that were for other people, bigger high-end budget productions. Oh, everything's in LA. Georgia's getting a hot spot right now. You should go there. No, there's so much talent here and so much, so much quality, so many quality people here to work with. You're in the center, you're in the hub, you're not in New York, you're in LA, you're not, down south in Georgia, you're in the center, you're in the Midwest, and there's just so much to be had here. We get all the seasons, you have every sort of option. And I really think it might be, I'd love to work in LA, I'd love to work in New York here and there, but I really like it here. It's you get the best mix of everything, and it's not too oversaturated. Not everybody on the street corner is looking to be the next big, star. A lot more, humble type feelings around here. So I really enjoy working in the Midwest.
So what was your very first project like?
Man, if you want to go really far back.
Yeah, let's go to the archives on this one.
let's see, like a Sony Handycam shooting a project for one of my multimedia classes in high school. I had requested to take a class because I took every film related class they offered, so they made a class for me, and I got to pick what I wanted to do, and they would grade me based off of my goals. So I shot a short film with a Handycam, no lighting to get I went overboard at the time, and I shot out of the back of a moving minivan of somebody riding a skateboard towards it. Part of it was an action sequence that was on 2 ATVs that I owned, and I was on one ATV, and somebody else was on the other ATV. And I was filming it as they were going. There's another shot again.
And you're still alive, though.
Yeah, we were going over the top for being a sophomore or junior in high school. But I had a blast. I thought I was doing something awesome. But that really got the bug, going. Actually creating. You didn't need the best equipment as long as you're creating. That just kind of adds to the feel and what you want to do with your life.
Were there ever times where you just wanted to throw in the tawel?
I wouldn't say throw in the towel. There's always going to be stuff that's stressful, but when you start something, you're already committed to that. If you start something, you should be committed to it to the very end. And I never had a point where I was just like, no, we don't want to do this, or no, it's just we're done. There's going to be tough. There's going to be a ton of things that are going to make you not want to move forward, but you just think about it and you committed so much to a certain project or to a certain production. And you need to get it done, whether it be, cast or crew having, fallouts with cast and crew, or music, or, any sort of special needs that you might need for your film. You work around it and you get it done, and you do the best of your ability, and it'll be a quality product in the end.
That's not to say that it was easy by any means. We definitely had
absolutely not.
our fair share of absolute, sometimes impossible problems. Yeah. But Vince is a good director. He's very patient. There's times where I would get very stressed out over a situation, something wasn't working out. It would work out in the end. It always did. but Vince was always kept a cool head, so it helps you out when you're trying to figure something out. And at the end of the day, you figure out the problem, you attack it head on, and you get it done one way or another. But it got done.
Well, and also with the independent productions such as Path of Egress, like sometimes it's got to be an all hands on deck kind of situation. Like, because I was involved with the production probably the third majority of the most. I mean, next to, of course, Pascal, Vince, and I would even go as far as to say Pascal's wonderful wife, Evelina, who's been like a wonderful assistant in terms of like helping get us food and everything like that, just helping get things set up. But whenever it came time, like, getting equipment set up for like a particular shot or anything like that, yeah, I'd come out and help like open up the C stands, get those propped up and everything like that for the lights and all that good stuff. And so I got really good to figure out like all this equipment. So it's also like a really good film school that way. So although there can be some stress factors in it, for me, I always saw it as like an educational experience. Because for me, there's almost no better film school than to actually go out and make something. So,
and just kind of add to that, part of Path of Egress we kind of felt is we wanted our actors to kind of be able to use as a calling card, because a lot of times they'll be called on as a background extra or something. They're out of focus in the background just to fill up space, or they're on a student short film that isn't necessarily going to go anywhere. I'm not one to say, but you don't know that it's going to go, to the next level. Whereas if we do a feature film, we got a little more to play with. You get a feature film to a festival or into the hands of a distributor, that they're more inclined to, want to share it out, because that's where it is. You want to watch a full movie. You don't see too many short films in theaters. You don't see too many, smaller projects widely distributed. So if we can have them in there and be able to showcase our talent, we want to help them out as well. And that's kind of what Path of Egress was for our cast.
So did you use any local artists for the music?
For the music we did, there's going to be some local artists as well as non-local, but we definitely will be utilizing local artists.
So Tyler, what thing do you think that really made you push the envelope for developing your acting skills?
Don't say that
good.
one, at least.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure if I can describe the scene without giving too much of the premise away, but there were plenty of days working on Path of Egress where it always felt like, after going through it on like a number of takes and everything, once like you finally get it, like it's such a huge confidence booster. And you feel like you can do the rest of the film no problem. Like that has come up a number of times, usually during like a very intense and emotional scene. But sometimes that would come whenever I just have like a really good exchange with a scene partner. Because for me, I'm only as good as my scene partner. That's how I look all the time. And in fact, there are even a number of performers in this that are not actors like on the professional level, like the ones that haven't like gone out and done a number of work before. But sometimes like getting a scene down with someone who hasn't done this professionally for a number of years like I have, like it's always a terrific feeling. So as for the scenes itself in question, I can't really describe them because they do give away important points in the movie. But
Nice save, Tyler.
Thank you very much. So
are there any techniques that you can recommend for actors?
Yes, listening is probably the biggest thing that I can always recommend. Listen not only to yourself, but more importantly to your scene partner, because if your scene partner is weak, you're going to look weak too. And it doesn't matter if your scene partner has never acted a day in their life. What you do is you just gotta rehearse a scene with them as much as you can, and trust that they can get their own lines down too. But it's always communication, like really open communication with your partner and also with the director, and always just be as present as possible in the moment, because that's what matters the most, is the moment and the immediacy. So
Pascal, what do you want to happen with this film? What do you want to portray to your audience?
I mean, essentially, in terms of actually getting it out there, or
Yes.
are you talking about the overall message?
Both.
Okay, so in terms of getting it out there, I want to get it seen by as many people as possible. But that all depends on what's going to happen in the festival circuit, if it's successful at all there. If not, maybe do TV rights or Netflix VOD, straight to DVD, whatever. It's just it's really essentially all about getting it out there and
Getting eyes on it.
Right, so that people could see our potential and what we're trying to strive for, what we're trying to do, what we can potentially do with a higher budget than what that one was. If we were given a lot more money, if we were able to pull off that with what we had, what can they do with more? I mean, in terms of the overall message, everybody will take away from it what they'll take away from it, what they feel the movie is, what they'll feel about the characters. The main thing is I wanted a movie that allows people to think for themselves when they see it, not something that is constantly bashing them over the head to feel this way or that way, or you need to go this route with your thinking. I want something that people could venture off and say, well, maybe the character didn't do this, or maybe, this isn't everything. This isn't all of it. Maybe I have to watch it a second time to notice little things. I want it to be as detailed as possible and make an intellectual product, if you will.
We're going to go ahead and take a break. You're currently tuned in to LoveLinked on IntellectualRadio.com. Tune in to LoveLinked on IntellectualRadio.com. I'm the host and creator, Brandy R. Love. And Path of Egress is live in the studio. So, guys, before you leave, tell us your social media accounts. Vincent?
Well, first and foremost, Path of Egress, Facebook.com/Path of Egress. That's EGRESS. Everything with the film will be updated on there. So we're going to be doing giveaways. We're going to be doing updates regarding showings for the film. Everything behind the scenes, stills, everything regarding to the film will be updated there in real time. So that's where you should go. Path of Egress on Facebook. Like us, share us, check out the trailer while you're there. Enjoy it.
We're also on Instagram, Path of Egress. So follow us there as well. We'll get some videos. Sometimes we have different giveaways on Facebook and Instagram, so we just kind of play around a little bit just to get some stimulation on both social media sites, if you will. But yeah, there's different giveaways on both of them. Lately, we've kind of slowed down, but that's because we're trying to wrap up the film. We're trying to wrap up the post-production. So once that ends and we hit March, we're really going to hit hard with our marketing. So there's going to be a lot more giveaways, or at least there's going to be more things more diverse
Mhm.
selection of giveaways, I guess. you
Yeah.
could say.
And speaking of giveaways, they have left me 2 posters, and as we approach the screening date, I will be giving away 2 tickets as well. So Tyler, tell us your social media accounts.
Well, I mean, outside of Trans Productions, you can find me at theundergroundmultiplex.com, which is also the Underground Multiplex on Facebook. And we're also on Twitter, which is the UG Multiplex. And you can also find me here and there in the city of Chicago.
So thank you so much to Path of Egress. Remember, guys, I will be live Saturday from Maurice D. Prophet's Black Girl Magic. See you guys next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good one.